everybody's dancing in the body, have a real good time.
What's up, guys? It's Ted here with BodiesXWix, here to tell you about one more cool thing. You get a $50 referral bonus from OKCoin. You split $100 between two people. Just sign up with the referral link below, and you get $50 worth of Bitcoin. Okay, so here's where we left off last time. And where we were was we were talking about where Ergo could possibly go, right? And I was thinking it could be possibly a little bit too high, for the pullback, but if it may not be, but it could possibly also pull back maybe a little lower. Um, it's kind of ambiguous as to where that pullback could be, but I do believe it will be just a pullback. The reason I think it may be a little bit lower is because there is that daily fair value gap that you see there, and also there is another daily fair value gap directly across from it in a bearish candle. So it goes down in an imbalance, it goes up in an imbalance, and it never touches it again. So it could come all the way back down and touch that bullish order block before we see any type of movement up, and that would be somewhere around $1.80 something like that. Which that'd be pretty low compared to what it is now, but then again, it has grown quite a bit in the past couple of weeks. But yeah, I'm keeping an eye out on Ergo. I've got a limit set on it as well. Two of them to be, in fact, the first one, as we mentioned earlier, I only have a small little bit on that one. And I'm gonna, if it gets down to a certain point, I'll just eat, a little bit, and then uh, if it gets down even lower, then I'm definitely gonna jump in on this one and probably throw a lot of leverage at this one. I do believe now we are at, let me see here. It hasn't got as low as what we thought it was, is what I thought it was going to just yet. But it did look like it got a little bit lower. It's at about $4.07 now. As to where when this was filmed, it was about $4.60 something cents. So it has dropped quite a bit. So yeah, I do believe it may still keep dropping until we find that imbalance, because that's what price likes to do, especially in smart money. Smart money likes to look for those imbalances and also likes to look for that liquidity, attack those, and then head on its way. All right, next one that was up was Ripple. Like I said, and this is one I usually don't ever look at, but today I looked at it and I stopped and I go, whoa, okay, this one's an easy one. I might as well just go ahead and buy. It was that simple. And the reason I did that was because if you look at it right now, it comes up in earlier, right, was where I'm marking right now, somewhere around the 0.357 mark. That's where I was looking at it earlier, and it was even with that hump that was kind of coming across. So, and I didn't really have time to pay attention to it. I just knew that if I would jump in on it, I knew it would go up and over that mark, right? Because there was, one line of liquidity, two lines of liquidity I've already drawn. So I knew it was going to get up there. I probably could have saved a little bit more money, but then again, I didn't know where, I didn't really feel like putting in a limit. That way I just wanted to jump in, get a little bit extra money, and that was about it. And I got a lot more than what I thought, to be honest. Mainly because I was pretty heavy on the leverage. Um, but yeah, most people, would do the opposite right here is what I'm trying to show. Most people would actually try to short this at this area because of all the same patterns that we were showing before in the last video. They were all going to the same height. They were all going to the same low, and so, you're taught as a retail trader that when that happens, that is a safe resistance point, right? Um, and it wasn't. And I knew it wasn't. As soon as it got to that same height that I was showing earlier, or that basically where that line is now, that's where it was whenever I jumped in and I was buying. And I wasn't buying praying for a breakout. No, I was buying because I was looking at the chart before me and I saw, okay, there is how many points of liquidity above me, which means how many areas of short selling could there possibly be because people see an area that they think would be turning around on them. There's too many. So to smart money's ears, they see that, or eyes, they see that, and they go, okay, everybody's going to be selling around this area, so we might as well go ahead and buy right through it and take their money because they're going to have short stop losses, thinking that it's going to go short. So that's exactly what I did. I did what smart money would do. I bought through it, and I ended up making more money. And to be honest, I'm still buying. Well, I got to a certain point, and then I went ahead and closed out the trade, and then I waited a little bit and watched it fall a little bit, and then I went ahead and opened up another trade. And why did I open up another trade to go long? And man, and I'm not for sure if I should have done this, but I did set a stop loss because if you look below, there's some equal lows that could be kind of dangerous, right? That could be a sign of, hey, the liquidity it could be wanting to try to push down to that liquidity down below before it rises up. I'm not sure. I personally think it's gonna keep trying to go higher and higher. Um, so that being said, that is what my plan was, and that is what my plan is currently. And I don't think it has moved much since then. Let me go over here and look, since this was recorded earlier, and see where it is at now. I don't think it really has moved much. No, well, in fact, it moved. No, I don't think it's moved at all. It's at 0.368, and right in here it's at 0.367. So no, it really hasn't moved at all. At all. So my thing is that since it looks like their cost could possibly be I think I show a low, higher, lower, low scenario within that kind of consolidation point, which as soon as that you did it, that last bullish candle up, whenever you have that low, high, lower, low scenario is what I'm drawing now. The last bullish candle up in that formation is going to be what's called your breaker, right? So, and this is a smart money term. What a breaker is, right? This is an area to where the people with all of the funds that can push around the charts, they're gonna push. They're either gonna buy a lot of the chart to a certain point and then sell, so that way everybody sells off with them, or they're going to sell off and they're going to buy. In this case, they bought really hard to try to get people to chase them, and then they sold off really quick, right? So what does that leave them with? That once it gets down to a certain point, they buy, and then they buy through it while they're probably still holding on to that short. right? And then eventually that price will come back to that area of that last candle, which is where they're still holding a short, and that's where they'll get rid of that short and then push the um, the chart ultimately up higher. And that's why I think it's going to keep going higher, is because they've already pushed through that area. I don't think they're going to, they've already broke structure. Um, and if you think about how smart money works, if you think about, how they want their money to work, they're not going to want to try to lose more now that they've gained it. They don't want to sell it, to try to short it. They want to try to keep holding on to it and try to, make it keep growing, eventually. So, and plus there's other areas of liquidity above that too. I mean, you keep seeing more and more spikes. So I just think that, eventually, you know, it'll break a level of liquidity. It'll pull back to a level of, a breaker area. It'll stop, consolidate, go up to a level of liquidity, continue and continue and continue. All right, lastly, we do have Mr. XMR Monero. All right, so here is where I see the three areas, the three lows where the red line is, right? And then just above the red line, I have a white line to where a bullish order block is, and it's not much higher than that. Right, you can see it come down, make an almost sideways W formation, right? And then it's pulling up and hitting about halfway in between, somewhere in between all of this. Basically, it's hitting the top of the weekly order block, which is that orange, rectangle there. So it's hitting the top of the weekly order block, which to me says it hasn't well, maybe it has fulfilled. Let me look. I don't think it has fulfilled. No, it hasn't fulfilled the entire weekly order block, going both ways, going up and down. So generally, whenever you see a weekly order block, it generally gets filled on the going upwards and going downwards. It hasn't been filled going downwards all the way just yet. So, in my opinion, from what I've seen in the past, it's going to drop all the way to the bottom of that area right there, which is somewhere around $134, right? And after that is when we should probably start seeing more bullish movement. But until then, I think it's probably gonna mess with this, screw with this, and who knows what's gonna happen. So
Everybody's dancing in the party, have a real good time.